Hey guys, it's Evan. So, I went to the dentist. I probably should not do that. And I haven't really been able to eat like a heavy meal. And I'm not going to. I just ordered pho, like vegetarian pho, tons of tofu and vegetables. And I am reducing my, shouldn't say my protein intake, but like meat. Because honestly, since I've been doing that, look at how clear my skin is now. Like, if you would have seen my skin before, and all really because I've been staying away from things that I'm allergic to. It's crazy, right? Like, if you would have seen, this is where my rash started right here. This is the very first scar from my rash. And this was the very first rash bump, and it spread like all over. Like, from here, it went up all over. I had, it went up my arm, and I had a upper respiratory. I had a nose infection. I had an eye infection. I had an ear infection. I had an upper respiratory infection, and I had a fungal infection. And then I had this stuff in my like ears and everything. Basically, all over my body had an infection. It got into my toes. It was bad. And I'm allergic to dust mites. I'm allergic to horses. So since I've been mindful now about what I'm allergic to, I've been just doing so much better. I said earlier, like, I decided to do something different with my head today, with my hair. I saw it on my gel bottle. It's like this gorilla. He's like, so I decided I'm gonna do that with my head today. I was like, anyways, my mom took me to the dentist. I guess I missed two phone calls from OT Naylor this morning. Oops. And then I can't return the message on my healthy bed. I got a message from somebody saying about spinal that they're working on it. I said thank you. I got another message about whole health. I'll be doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow I have two appointments, one with Dr. R, mental health, and one with whole health. And so I went to my dental appointment. They fixed my teeth. Alternately called me like around 8:22, 8:30. I woke up at like right shortly after 7 o'clock, so I would imagine around 8 o'clock I was probably preparing my backpack or getting out the shower, getting ready, or all of those things. And I went outside so that I can get my documents organized. And I have a lot of my documents right here. I really need to get into a good mental place where I'll eat, and I need to get into my college, into my school, which is like, even my sister was on my laptop right now, and this laptop is awful. It's horrible. Like, and it's not even that it's awful and horrible. It's like, everybody's like, what the heck? And so, aside from it being awful, horrible, this thing like whirs up. It's like, and I'm just like, this thing's gonna blast off. It gets so hot and overheated, and it takes forever just to boost up and start up. So my mom picks me up. She's super loud everywhere she goes. She comes into the house hooting and hollering. Mom was positive she's the reason the door lock's messed up. And, well, between her and the heat, and I've greased that thing up. Anyways, so we stop at the gas station shell, put $5 in, I'm running late. 3 minutes late, 4 minutes late. Get to the dentist, I apologize for being late. Give him my allergy paperwork. Kind of update here and there, but I have a lot of irritation around where this tooth was popped out, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So, man, I'm waiting on VA, and I just can't, like, around the tooth, I felt like a lot of irritation around the gum, like in the gum area around where the tooth was out, and no one's reached out to me yet to discuss the CPAP, like the sleep study. I know I do not have sleep apnea, but they said as far as, like, I'm trying not to itch anymore. Oh, I need to go knock down the wasp nest before I get in trouble. But anyways, I'll give like a brief somewhat of a synopsis of my day. Anyways, I got my tooth fixed. I got a goodie bag. Thank you God, I got goodies for my chomps and my teeth. I actually got like these lozenges from their breath, and I'll show you guys later. I trained with my EpiPen. I'm going to do one of these tonight after like I wind down, because I think it's important for me to use one of these for the first time, considering my allergies have never ever been treated, and considering I have had hives and this rash since 2022. So thank you God that I'm alive, and I think that using one of these for the first time, I'm in control of my own choices and my own decisions and my own body. I used this multiple times. I even showed it like to my sister, to my sibling. So they have awareness. My doctor said that I need to inform my family and my support system and educate them and educate myself as to why it is I have this allergy, and let them know to be mindful if they have pets and stuff like that and dust mites, and taking precaution is my responsibility. So I have to start doing the work. It's like lifestyle adjustments. It makes me sad because I like animals, and even today I saw ducks and they were just attracting all these pests. Like, they smell, they're stinky, not that they're not cute. They were giving me Google eyes, like, please, sir, give me a crumb. And I say, get away, scrub. You're bringing flies and bugs around me, and I'm trying to eat and be one with the force, and the force one with me. So, anyways, after that, I stopped at the bank. Shout out to Frost Bank. Got some water. Thank you to my dentist. Shout out to RSC Dentistry. And I went to Frost Bank, and then we went to Juiceland. I've never been there before. I got the Muscle Beach. I got a Greek wrap. My mom got the originator and some kind of like pesto grilled cheese, and I got an acai bowl. I forgot the name of the one I got, but I just made sure I got one without banana because I'm all bananaed out. I got like tons of bags of bananas from Brookshire Brothers, thank you God, for 99 cents each. My family, both my siblings and my mom, made banana bread, and I made myself a banana shake, so thank you God for providing. And then I took a nap. I really need to take a nap. Like, I don't think there's any understanding from anybody, but that's okay. Like, I get super tired, and I'm getting way better as far as like finding this momentum and stamina. And this heat is not helping me. So I woke up at 2:30 because the young Sam, not the older Sam, will text me like, hey, I'm on my way to the library. So I'm like, cool. I get up, and not only was it that, but also Vivian from Sugarland OPC calls me and reaches back out to me regarding my message, my Healthy Vet, and the operator from Sugarland's message to my PCP, because there's been this whole run around. My PCP said call Spinal Clinic is scheduled in. They didn't answer me. They haven't answered me since 2024. So we're in 2027 almost, and I remember leaving my phone on speakerphone live forever. I walked around the entire shelter and did all kinds of who knows what, and they were just on keeping me on hold, whatever. And I even asked Vivian, "Did they answer you?" She said, "No, they keep us on hold. Go to the second floor, 2B 301." I went in person. They denied me because it says partial privilege. If I give you guys like the in-depth story, we'll be here forever. I spoke to Emily with not VAOIG, with the VA White House line, and she was super, super thorough. Did she get everything right, like down to a T? No, I can't make people write verbatim my life experience. That's why I am very, 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 very good at writing. And maybe that's why I haven't jumped into my research, because of all this systemic world corruption and the reality of my life. So, anyways, I'm doing better about that. Um, Incorporating that into my day to day. But anyways, I reported it, and hopefully they'll get it all sorted out and pencil me in to be scheduled with spinal. And then, so anyways, that younger Sammy with the guitar, and they gave me a capo. He tells me he's on his way to the library. I hang up with Emily. I get my power chair. I head over with my ukulele and my backpack, and I get there. And when I get to the library, there's this girl, like super young teeny popper teenager, ugly looking, got slapped with an ugly stick, sitting in a wheelchair, like an old wheelchair. And she's like, "Are you Evan?" I don't know. I said yes. And she's like, "Your friend went to his house and said he'd be back." And I was like, "Well, I wouldn't call him my friend, especially because he's super snowflakey, super flaky. I'm like barely an acquaintance or whatever." And she was like, "He's good at playing the guitar." And I was like, "I like your wheelchair." And I had one, and it's fit for SpongeBob SquarePants. And there was this lady to the side of her that was wearing pink too. Everybody was wearing pink for the most part, except for the lady who picked her up who had a dark green shirt on, and was in maybe like a dark SUV. Picked her up with a handicap placard in the front. Anyways, I go what I usually do, make my rounds. I love finding books and reselling them, and now I'm trying to get into the groove of like cutting out the middleman that gypped me for like a couple cents for a book. And so I really want to do my best to like resell certain like here and there books, and buying books that I like and reselling them. Like, I don't know. I think that my taste in books is like different, and I think that mm, I don't know. I found a book that I'm like a super hard die-hard Hallmark fan, and I so When Calls the Heart is based off of a book, and I found that book, and When Calls the Heart, and my mind went blank just because I'm just so happy that I found that book. But they sell the series at Walmart for like hundreds of dollars. I swear I'm not exaggerating. I'm almost positive I saw like the whole series for like $300 or whatever, all the seasons. And I'm like, ugh, why does it have to be so expensive? And I really do just need to spend the $5 and get Hallmark Plus so I can stop lashing out in life. I think I'd be such a like I'd be like just in like pure tranquility if I just had Hallmark Plus. So I'm probably gonna do that. And maybe that would just kill me once and for all. There was a time when I had like this promo to like have free Hallmark Plus, like a free trial, and then the $5 a month or whatever. So I don't know. Anyways, so I found that book. Anyways, what I'm saying in so many words is I do my rounds, find CDs, and I want to resell them so that I make more money. I'm not getting paid a couple cents for a book or a CD. And then I was like, well, this is super phony, this interaction. I'm not surprised at the whole situation with Samuel. Like, he was sitting at the bench when I called the FBI one time, so it wasn't like wowzer. Like, it wasn't like wow. Like, I wasn't like super wild or anything like that, that something fishy or phony was happening like that at all. But I honestly thought that, I see people as human beings, and I can't control how they view me. Like, I can't control that, but I was in an ecosystem where I knew better than to treat people that way, and I knew that people didn't treat me that way, didn't limit me because of any other reason. I mean, granted, I ended up in a little tiny. I was outnumbered by idiots who eventually did treat me that way, but I wouldn't have had all of these tremendous, amazing opportunities had people limited me based on specific things. And I'm still that way. Like, I view everybody as a human being. I don't care. That's something that will never change about me. I view, like, obviously, I'm a grown man. I will never be in an intimate relationship, like, I mean, consent is, I don't know, somebody was, I don't know, I don't want to get too far into it, but I think it was Nancy Grace, or somebody was talking about, like, consent, and recently, and I think it was about the hating stuff, about this whole phony hooey fooey stuff about waking up and somebody's dead next to me, like that is super like red flag. But what I'm saying is like, obviously like I'm a grown man. I have particular taste and preferences, and obviously like I'm not going to cross that boundary and be R. Kelly. But like, you know, I just feel that I feel that ageism is a thing, and being ageist towards people, like, you're only cheating yourself from interactions by being an ageist person. And this little kid, Aiden, he came up to me out of nowhere and just like drilled me, like, can you walk? Can you stand up? Can you move? Like, what happened to you? Like, children are children, they don't know any better. And I mean, Michael Jackson was accused of horrific things, and I think that was the message he was trying to share. Like, there are children that have suffered and are in poverty, and they don't know any better. And it's for us as adults to be positive influences so that they, as children, end up resolving issues that we in our generation don't know how to resolve. But it's through communication, through leading by example. Like, we're not perfect. And I think that even after watching Michael Jackson, not that I didn't know this about Michael Jackson, I think in watching the movie, he used his platform when people didn't even know what a platform is. Even some people my generation think that Paris Hilton has had this influence in this platform. Like, Michael Jackson, he understood he was the epicenter, and he still is the epicenter in cultural ways, in the cultural way, like pop culture, rock, of, like, he did not have internet. He was that mainstream voice, that world peace and humanity and happiness and joy and caring, beyond our own livelihood, adulthood, our lives. We should transpire this to the youth, to the younger generations, because they're going to be the ones, by God's grace and through love and kindness and compassion, that fall into our shoes and are able to be the future change that we weren't able to achieve. And that only happens through one way, by us having that, that influence, that positive influence. And like this little kid, like Aiden or whomever it may be, like, they don't know any better. And it's for us to like have those conversations, like, where are your parents? Or even when their parents are around, and say, hi, my name is so and so, like, my name is Evan, or whatever it may be. And but I know my intention. I know that I'm an adult man and boundaries, but also I know my adversity. Like, I look like I'm super, 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 super young. I look like a child, and people constantly treat me like a child. Well, that's fine. Like, if you're gonna be ill, you're a child. Get away from me, and I'm a grown adult man. That's your problem. Like, you just cheated yourself out of an interaction of knowing a super, super, super great guy, and that's like out of my control. I mean, I have suffered in such a way where, like, I have no social life, and I'm doing my best to rebuild my life. And even like, I think ageism is horrible. I think it is a form of discrimination to discriminate against somebody not just because they're not older than 40 years old or whatever. Ageism is a thing, and I think that ageism, I feel like there's such a stigma around ageism, and I think that people think like ageism is such things, or even pedophilia, such things. And it's like, no, like if people really understood the differences between being ageist, being a creepo, being a weirdo, I think that that would make the world a better place. And also educating teenagers and young adults and kids. You know, my mom was not the greatest mom, but even my mom taught me stranger danger or stop, drop, and roll. You know, or if a stranger came and approached me, like I could never get away with what Aiden got away with as a kid. And I was almost kidnapped as a kid in Arizona, so I could never get away with that. I remember my mom wasn't the greatest mom, but I remember even in Arizona at that mall when I was almost kidnapped, and the guy tried to take off with me in a hot wire car and take off with me. I remember my mom and her friend, like the whole mall and shopping center just like went into full alert. Parking lot, they caught the guy and everything. So I I could never get away with what Aiden got away with. I could never get away with, and I was asking for help too. Like along the way, as I was being taken away by this guy, I'll never forget what he looked like. And I mean, but it's like educating everyone, like adults, to be positive, to not treat people differently because of what they look like. You know, obviously, I saw this Keanu Reeves movie where these two girls were scammy, fishy, phony, and they tricked him in saying they were like younger than what they were, and it was just like this whole bizarre thing. Like, obviously, those things are like so far fetched, outrageous. I'm not saying that they don't happen and they're wrong, but I'm saying, like, in a successful corporate setting for organizations and innovations, like, you cannot hinder or limit an individual based on their age. Like, that's super, super wrong. And, like, if I sit here and treat somebody like crap because they look like they're 10 years old, and, you know, that's wrong. Like, obviously, have boundaries. Like, this is a young child. Okay, cool. But then, like, obviously have that discernment and that judgment, like be real. Like I'm in my 30s, and if I'm talking to a woman that's in her 30s but she looks 20, or if I'm talking to a woman that's in her 50s and she looks like she's 30, you know obviously, like, have that discernment. Like, for me, like, I had this conversation with my mom, like, about not spirit shaming and whatever, but like I'm in a point in my life where I know the reality spiritually and in so many ways, in a secular way, that I know that my taste and my I don't want to say detest, because I feel like that sounds like I'm just awful jerk, but like I have taste, I have standards, I have preferences. Not that I didn't before, but I feel like now that, I don't know, I'm just in a different place in my life. I almost lost my life multiple times, but I just feel like now I have this I've exercised my ego and my confidence to the point where, you know, in a spiritual way, I am not afraid to be equally yoked, or have this spiritual resilience. I'm not afraid to admit, like, I think somebody's ugly. I think that somebody's not of my caliber. Like, you know, I've heard older men, even one guy, Sam, he was like, it was never going to work out with my wife. We couldn't stand each other anymore. Like, she wasn't as spiritual as he, whatever it may be. And, and I don't ever want to be that way. And I thank God that I have this awareness and this spiritual strength to just openly admit it. Like I was telling my mom, like, hey, I'm not spirit shaming. She was like, well, yes, this and that. No. Like, I have the authority. God has given me the agency as man to lead in my life in a spiritual way, to be this man that God, who is against me when you are for me. A woman will do what she wants to, when she wants to, as she pleases, whatever. But I know that as long as I stay strong in my faith with God, that this woman is either going to love me and say, man, I love this man. He's so spiritually secure and secure with himself. He may not have a job, but this man is so confident with himself. Like, this man carries himself like he has 10 jobs and I don't have a job. But like, people ask me all the time, like, do you work here? You have a job. And I'm like, I'm glad I look like I have a job. But, hey, you know, I would rather, like, these women just know and be attracted to me because of my confidence and my spiritual security and my faith in God and who I am, then if it takes something like super minimal for them to just peace out and give up and tap out, well then that's not being equally yoked in any other way. Like, I can say equally yoked or whatever. Like, obviously I'm not expecting, like, I cannot stand, and I've been on here longer than I wanted to, but I can't stand seeing men in the church that think that women don't have the power of the prophecy, that women don't have any power of the priesthood, that women can't prophesy, that women are supposed to be this, this gender roles. I can't stand that. I think that's the dumbest thing ever, to each their own. But if I were to sit here and say, like, a woman doesn't have control over their lives and I'm the man and I get to dictate and determine and delegate, she should do whatever to please me, like, I would not have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like, I peace out, bro. Like, for real. Like, honestly, peace out on me. And I earn my living. I don't tolerate those derogatory remarks, especially because I earn my living and I earned my career. But hey, like, women can be relentless and ruthless, like 100%. And so, anyways, I just feel like ageism is a thing. I think that being ageist is wrong. I'm on my way over there. I'm cool.